The biting Canadian winter seemed to mirror the chill that had settled over the Daniliuk family. The snow-covered streets and the icy winds were a stark contrast to the warmth they once knew. Each day felt like a battle against the elements, a struggle to keep the cold at bay, both outside and within their hearts. Just a year ago, they had arrived in Toronto, wide-eyed and hopeful. The city, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, had seemed like a beacon of opportunity. They had dreams of a fresh start, of building a new life from the ground up. They sought a better life, a refuge from the economic turmoil that gripped their native Ukraine. The promise of stability and prosperity had drawn them across continents, leaving behind everything they knew. But the reality was harsh. Their meager savings dwindled faster than they had anticipated. The cost of living in the city was high, and finding stable employment proved to be a daunting task. Each day brought new challenges, and the weight of uncertainty grew heavier. The promised land felt more like a concrete jungle. The towering buildings that once symbolized hope now loomed over them, casting long shadows of doubt and fear. The city's vastness was overwhelming, and the sense of isolation was palpable.
I watched my parents struggle. Their faces, once filled with hope, now bore the lines of worry and exhaustion. Every day was a reminder of the sacrifices they had made for our future. I felt a deep sense of responsibility, a burning desire to ease their burden. I knew I had to step up to find a way to help them navigate this new world.
Alex enrolled in a local high school. It was a new environment, filled with unfamiliar faces and customs. The hallways echoed with a language he was still struggling to understand. He was a bright kid, but the language barrier felt like an insurmountable wall. Each lesson was a challenge, each interaction a test of his resilience. The frustration of not being able to express himself fully weighed heavily on him. He retreated into himself, finding solace in the glow of his computer screen. It was a world where language was no barrier, where he could be himself without fear of judgment. The digital world became his sanctuary, a place where he could escape the harsh realities of his new life. Here, he could explore, learn, and connect with others who shared his interests. He spent hours online, teaching himself English and exploring the vast, uncharted territories of the internet. Each new word, each new phrase was a step towards bridging the gap between his old life and his new one. Little did he know, this digital haven would become his gateway to a world of both opportunity and danger. The internet, with all its promises, also held hidden perils that he was yet to discover.
The weight of my family's situation pressed heavily on my young shoulders. Every day, I felt the urgency to find a solution, to lift the burden that was slowly crushing us. I needed to find a way to help, to contribute. I couldn't stand by and watch my parents' dreams crumble. I had to take action, to find a way to make a difference.
He scoured online forums, desperately searching for a way to make money. Each thread, each post was a potential lifeline, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. One evening, he stumbled upon a thread buried deep within the internet's underbelly. It was a place where the desperate and the daring converged, seeking opportunities that the surface web couldn't offer. It spoke of click farms, places where people could earn money for completing simple online tasks. The idea seemed straightforward, almost too easy. It seemed too good to be true, but desperation outweighed caution. The promise of quick money was tempting, and he was willing to take the risk. He clicked the link, taking his first tentative steps into a world that promised wealth, but whispered of danger. It was a decision that would change the course of his life, leading him down a path filled with both opportunities and unforeseen challenges. The Click Farm was a digital sweatshop. Alex spent hours clicking on ads, liking posts, and inflating website traffic. The pay was meager, but it was something. He sent every penny he earned back home, clinging to the hope that he was making a difference.
As weeks turned into months, I became more comfortable navigating the shadowy corners of the internet. I discovered a hidden world, a digital underground where anonymity reigned supreme.
He learned the language of this new realm, mastering the art of VPNs, proxies, and encrypted messaging. He adopted the moniker Ghost, shedding his real-world identity and embracing the anonymity of the digital realm. He found a sense of community among the other denizens of this digital underbelly, a ragtag group of hackers, scammers, and outcasts. They were drawn together by a shared sense of alienation, a desire to carve out their own space in a world that had left them behind.
One fateful night, while browsing a hidden forum, I stumbled upon a thread discussing carding. I learned that stolen credit card information was bought and sold in this clandestine marketplace. I was hesitant at first, my moral compass still pointing towards the straight and narrow. But the allure of easy money, the promise of finally being able to provide for my family, proved too strong to resist.
He delved deeper into the world of carding, eager to learn the tricks of the trade. It was in the murky depths of a carding forum that Alex met Cy. The forum was a digital underworld, a place where the shadows of society gathered to exchange secrets and schemes. Cy was a hacker, a true digital phantom who moved through the online world with an almost supernatural grace. His skills were legendary, whispered about in hushed tones among those who dared to tread the dark web. He was older than Alex, more experienced, and possessed a cynical wit that masked a deep-seated resentment towards the world. Cy had seen the worst of humanity and had decided to fight back in his own way. He recognized a kindred spirit in Alex, a young man with raw talent and a burning desire to escape his circumstances. Alex was eager to learn, and Cy saw in him the potential to become a formidable force in the digital realm.
I saw potential in Alex, a spark that needed kindling. He reminded me of myself when I first started, full of ambition and a hunger for something more. I took him under my wing, becoming both mentor and partner in crime. Together, we would navigate the treacherous waters of the digital underworld.
Together, they honed their skills, exploiting vulnerabilities in online systems and siphoning off credit card information. They spent countless hours perfecting their techniques, learning from each mistake and celebrating each success. They started small, making cautious forays into the world of online fraud. Each successful attempt emboldened them, pushing them to take greater risks. They justified their actions as a way to level the playing field, to take back what they believed the system had unjustly denied them. In their minds, they were modern-day Robin Hoods, stealing from the rich to give to themselves.
The thrill of the heist, the rush of adrenaline that came with successfully infiltrating a secure system, became addictive. Each successful breach was a testament to their skills and a middle finger to the establishment. We were hooked, caught in a dangerous game that promised both riches and ruin. The stakes were high, but the rewards were intoxicating.
With each successful heist, their confidence grew. They became bolder, pushing the boundaries of what they could achieve. They moved beyond simple carding, venturing into the more lucrative world of identity theft. This new frontier offered even greater rewards, but also greater risks. They created elaborate online personas, using stolen identities to open bank accounts, secure loans, and live lavishly off the grid. Their new lives were a stark contrast to the ones they had left behind. They justified their actions by telling themselves that they were stealing from faceless corporations, not individuals. It was easier to sleep at night believing they were hurting no one. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. The moral ambiguity of their actions began to weigh on them. The line between right and wrong, once so clear, had become blurred. They were no longer sure if they were the heroes of their own story, or the villains. As they delved deeper into the world of cybercrime, the stakes grew higher, and the consequences more severe. They were playing a dangerous game, and the cost of losing was more than they had ever imagined. The partnership between Alex and Cy was strong, but the pressures of their illicit activities began to strain their relationship. Trust, once implicit, now required constant reassurance. They knew that one wrong move could bring everything crashing down. The thrill of the heist was now tempered by the ever-present fear of discovery. As they stood on the precipice of their next big score, they couldn't help but wonder if the rewards were worth the risks. The forbidden fruit they had tasted was sweet, but its aftertaste was bitter. And so, with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, they prepared for their next move, knowing that the path they had chosen was fraught with peril, but unable to turn back. As Alex and Cy's reputation grew, so too did their ambition. They were no longer satisfied with the small-time scams that had once thrilled them. They craved bigger scores, higher stakes, and the adrenaline rush that came with infiltrating systems that seemed impenetrable. The allure of the unknown and the challenge of outsmarting sophisticated security measures became their new obsession. The thrill of the chase, the high of a successful breach, and the rewards that came with it were intoxicating. They began to set their sights on more ambitious targets, each one more challenging than the last. Their exploits attracted the attention of Curtis, a shadowy figure who operated in the deepest recesses of the dark web. Curtis was known for his ability to connect the most talented hackers with lucrative opportunities.
I saw in Alex and Cy a valuable asset, a source of fresh talent and audacious ambition. Their skills were impressive, but it was their fearlessness that truly caught my attention. They had the potential to pull off jobs that others wouldn't dare attempt. I knew they were the perfect candidates for a high-stakes operation I had in mind. I approached them with an offer, a proposition that promised to elevate them from petty criminals to major players in the global cybercrime scene. It was an opportunity that could change their lives forever. The job was risky, but the potential rewards were immense. It was a chance to make a name for themselves in the world of cybercrime, to become legends.
Curtis was a data broker, a purveyor of stolen information who acted as a middleman between hackers and those willing to pay top dollar for access to sensitive data. He had a client, a high-ranking executive at the International Bank of Canada, who was willing to pay a king's ransom for access to the bank's security protocols and customer data. This executive had a lot to gain from the information Curtis could provide. The executive was desperate, willing to go to any lengths to get what he needed. He knew that the information would give him a significant advantage in his business dealings. The task was daunting, a suicide mission, a task so dangerous and complex that it bordered on the impossible. The bank's security was top-notch, designed to thwart even the most skilled hackers. It was a challenge that would test their skills to the limit. Failure was not an option, as the consequences would be dire. But the reward, both financial and in terms of reputation, was too tempting to resist. The potential payoff was enormous, enough to set them up for life. The promise of wealth and the chance to prove themselves on the biggest stage were irresistible. They knew that this was their moment, their chance to make history.
We spent weeks meticulously planning the heist, studying the bank's systems, identifying vulnerabilities, and crafting a strategy to bypass their formidable security measures. Every detail had to be perfect. We analyzed every aspect of the bank's defenses, looking for any weakness we could exploit. It was a painstaking process, but we knew it was necessary. We knew that one wrong move, one slip-up, could land us in prison for life. The stakes were incredibly high and the pressure was intense. The thought of failure was always in the back of our minds, but we couldn't let it distract us. We had to stay focused and execute our plan flawlessly. But the allure of the challenge, the thrill of infiltrating one of the most secure institutions in the world, fueled our determination. We were driven by the desire to succeed, to prove that we were the best. The excitement of the heist, the anticipation of the moment when we would finally breach the bank's defenses kept us going. We knew that if we could pull this off, it would be the crowning achievement of our careers.
They worked tirelessly, their fingers dancing across keyboards, their eyes glued to monitors, their minds consumed by the intricate details of their audacious plan. Every keystroke, every line of code brought them closer to their goal. The intensity of their focus was palpable. They knew that they were on the brink of something monumental, and they couldn't afford any mistakes. Their concentration was unwavering, their determination unshakable. They were ready to take on the challenge and make their mark on the world of cybercrime.